Hi there, welcome to Push Moments episode 33. And you see, in this episode, I sit down with the amazing Bashirah Ajao, also known as the Creative Herbalist. And we talk about different things from how she started her business, how she's able to stay consistent. And guess what? We go in depth and she shares her success secrets. Look, listen, you don't want to miss out on this episode. And let me just get out of your way and let's go deep into what we talked about.
Push Moments is a podcast series that brings you tips, tricks, insights, and interviews to help you gain clarity, overcome those limiting beliefs, and take control of your life.
All right, welcome to another episode of Push Moments. And today we have an amazing guest. We have the amazing Bashirah Ajao. I'm going to do a bit of introduction before I ask her to even introduce herself, but I'll tell you, she's who you call a paragon that is redefining sustainable herbal skincare. Guess what, guys? Not only is she that amazing, but she uses 75% of all her materials locally sourced. Talk about buy Nigeria to grow the Naira. Do you get? And she's the owner and the CEO of the Creative Herbalist. And what is the Creative Herbalist? It's a fast-growing, women-driven social enterprise that not only promotes natural and sustainable lifestyle, but at the same time, it builds a generation of empowered women. Fit, just not normal empowered women, but they are fit to hold their own anywhere. And she also doubles as a parent brand to 3 products, which are also based on, natural lifestyle brands, TCH Botanicals, right? CC African and Share Africa, and which, she produces shea butter. Trust me, I'm a huge fan, right? So thank you very much, Bashirah, for joining us. Welcome. Before I even go, the first question I want to ask you, is, how did you start? How did you get this idea, right, to do what you're doing right now?
Thank you for having me, Usman, and with the elaborate introduction. So, good. Hello, guys. My name is Bashirah Ajao. I am the Creative Herbalist, and as Usman has rightly introduced, so I'm just going to skip that. So, how did I start? I've always been a lover of herbs, and thanks to my grandmother, so she sort of introduced me to it because I've always had this extremely sensitive skin. So I break out to almost everything. So she started with the herbs and the African black soap, the shea butter, and then my skin literally got better. But when I got into the herbal skincare as a business, was more of when I went to serve in Kano State for NYSC. Meanwhile, just to mention, Kano is my second best. It's actually my best town in Nigeria, so I had to slot that.
I know, right?
So I sort of stumbled upon it business-wise because then I was hustling. I had lots of bills to sort out, even as a core member. And then I found this Yoruba woman in Kano State selling herbs in Sabongiri markets. And I was intrigued. So I asked her a couple of questions and then I needed money. I was like, okay, this sounds like a good idea to start with. I remember that I started with 1,400 Naira business-wise. So I bought a couple of ingredients from her. I bought camwood, bought African black soup, and a few other herbs. I remember that on my way out of the market that day, I found this. So then the Northerners are very good at recycling. So I found this Abib Yogurt containers that the man was selling. So they used Abib Yogurt containers. So I bought about 4. Okay, I actually bought 4 pieces from him. So I got home, I washed them, I sterilized them, I mixed my soup and all that, and that was, I started with 4 jars of Abib Yogurt container soaps.
Wow.
That was it.
Okay, so now, I don't know. I want to put you on the spot now. Can you just tell us roughly what an average monthly turnover you do? I don't know. Because, a lot of times when we say just start, people think, oh, it's aspire to aspire. So you started from 1,400 Naira. What's an average? You don't have to tell us the exact amount. What's an average turnover that you do?
Okay, average, we do 7 figures. Average, let's say, just say 7 figures.
Guys, when they say 7 figures, I want people to understand. When they say 7 figures, it's like from 1M upwards. So from 1M to 9M is 7 figures. So I
Yes,
mean, I'm
something
not
like that.
asking where is which one, but amazing, amazing. So I mean, right now there's a lot of debate around chasing your purpose, passion, or profit, right? So is it about chasing passion or profit? In your own opinion, which one do you think is better?
The thing is, at some point before, I used to say, okay, maybe you should follow your passion because it might be easier for you to be able to stay true to it when the going gets tough. But in this day and age, I realize that it's coming to you going to learn. If you know that your passion is not profitable, at least in the beginning, I would advise that you go learn a profitable skill, monetize that first, then use that to fund your passion. Maybe on the long run, your passion might become profitable. At least you make sure that you have something that sorts the bills. Even if you want to like go for the passion thing, but you have to have money coming in steadily, so you don't like get yourself in trouble, maybe finance-wise, rent-wise, or responsibility-wise. Passion is good, but profit is important. Yeah.
So passion is important, profit is important.
It's important. Yeah, something like that.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, so you're currently not only running the TCH brand, the Share Africa, but you also provide business tips and training. One of the things I enjoy doing is, when you start your Coach Google It. By the way, guys, if you don't know, she's Coach Google It. And I'll tell you why we call her Coach Google It. Because after she gives you so many business tips, she said, me, I don't know, Google it. So she's not the kind of person that you want to ask questions. Oh, but how do you do it? She'll first send it to Google. I think you should even be an ambassador to Google. So apart from all these things that you're doing, Avi, all right. Apart from all these things that you do, you also do provide, business tips and training, right? Now, the question is, how have you been able to, express yourself severally in these different, don't you? Now, I know there are a lot of people that think, oh, I don't want to be jack of all trades. What do you have to say to people like that?
On a personal note, I've always been a lover of business development. So maybe if I was not in the herbal in a skincare space, I'll probably be thinking about business development. I've always loved to see people grow, especially when it comes to women. So if I get your question right, can you possibly rephrase that particular question?
Okay, so
please?
I mean, bottom line, the question is, right, you are doing so many things, right? So you're doing so many brands now, and so many people, when they start, they have ideas to branch out, but they tend to not do that, right? They tend to just say, okay, you know what, I want to just stick to this one thing that I'm doing, right? So what I'm asking is, what do you think? Is it important for you to branch out, or is it important for you to just stick to one thing that you're doing?
Okay, the thing is, if you look at my brands, I branched out, but still in the same industry. So they are still sort of intertwined. Because if you're just starting out and you want to branch out and you go to somewhere entirely different, especially if you want to build both brands in the online space and you want to be like a personal person pushing both brands, you might find it tad hectic. And the chance of it becoming both brands becoming successful at least is very slim. So I carefully chose my brands to remain within the same industry, though under separate brands. Branching out is awesome, but I would advise that if you're going to branch out, especially in a totally different niche, make sure you have one strong, like the first one is up and running, and okay, this thing can do maybe about 50% without you being in the business before you actually go to somewhere totally different from what you initially started out with. Because essentially running home business in Nigeria is hard. Running modern home business in Nigeria is crazy. Not for the faint-hearted. Yes.
So I mean, a lot of people, on their rise to success as they are moving along, they face failures, they face challenges, and sometimes they give up. Now, one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of people give up just before they become successful. Right? And one of the things I do is when I bring people that I term to be successful onto my platform, I always like to ask them, what was the biggest challenge that you faced and how did you overcome it? Maybe you can inspire someone out there.
So I think when it comes to challenges, the kind of person we are on a personal note also influences how we see challenges. So my life has been tons full of challenges. Like for a few people that know my story, it's been, at least for the past 10 years, it's been one challenge to the other. So I have a mantra: giving up is not an option. So whatever it takes, it has to work out. Like there has to, I believe that there's always a way out. So I never give up on things. That's one thing about me. No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it might seem to be, I don't give up.
So the idea is never give up.
I don't give up. But do note that there are instances, or there might be instances whereby you will see for yourself that, okay, this thing is not worth putting in the effort anymore. You can seek advice, you can talk to yourself, or seek advice, or have mentors or coaches that are like, okay, maybe you should drop this for something better or another option.
Yeah.
So giving up is not an option when it is wise not to
give up. I mean,
so
I think the idea is don't give up when you are faced with challenges, but you can quit. Quitting is not bad, right? You can quit when you see that this road that I'm going is not worth it. So you're not quitting because you faced a challenge, but you're leaving it because you're moving to something else.
It's not worth it. Yes.
I mean, so I always like to say that success, right? Our habits really have a lot to do with how successful we are. So I want to find out, what are your habits? What is a typical day for you like?
Okay. I wake up around 3:30 a.m. to 4 a.m. Latest by 4 a.m. I'm up.
Okay.
Then I put my tahajjud. Then I read. Between the hours of 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. My prayer time, reading time, and then I get on my phone. Then it's basically work all day. Most times I have a to-do list, so I work around my to-do list. Because I found out that personally I get distracted very fast. So once I have a list and I stick to it, I end up having a productive day. Having a busy day is different from having a productive day. So I don't have a regimented routine, but I thrive more on having a to-do list. That really helps me. But I love to read. And then one thing I also make sure to do is that every day I learn something new about my industry. So that's one thing for me. There has to be something new, maybe a new phrase, a new word, a new ingredient, something has to be something new that I've not heard about before. And because I love Googling, there's always something to learn. So we just Google.
All right, awesome. So, I mean, I love the fact that you say you love reading, and we know that leaders are readers. Can you tell us 3 books that have changed your life?
Okay, one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. That book is awesome. I think I've read it once and about read it again. Then I also have there's Originals. I can't recollect the name of the author at the moment, but it's called Originals.
Originals. I know the book. It has Originals, like a 0 with different colors, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't remember who. I think Adam Newman or someone. I can't remember.
I can't remember his name. Now, I think the third one would be The Greatest Salesman in the World.
OG Mandino.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I particularly love that book. It's actually nice. So yeah, but most times it's more about books in my industry as well. So
now, I mean, so apart from books, right? Who are the top 3 people that you have personally learned from?
So I'm this kind of person that I don't have I don't really subscribe to. No, please, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I currently do not have one specific person I'm learning from. So I pick from. I have several mentors. Even mentors that I don't know I exist.
Yeah.
So I believe that I can learn from people from afar, and I don't have to be in your space. Especially maybe if you're in the top industry and maybe I cannot afford the services yet. So I practically stalk you online, look check for updates, like learn from afar. So I don't have I'm a student of knowledge. I learn from people, but there are several people I learn from at different points in time. Though I tend to have say, okay, for this month I'm learning about marketing. So throughout that month, I'm hunting down marketing people online and learning from them. Yeah. So I don't really have, but I've learned personally. I've learned from Uthman. Uthman right here is one amazing person that I have really, really learned from. So
thank you very much. All right, awesome. Now, if you were to summarize, what has made you successful? I know earlier you said persistence, but I just want to ask again whether that's what it is. If you were to summarize your success in one word, what would that word be?
It will still be persistence.
Persistence.
It will still be, look, I've been through a lot. Like, I have been through a lot. So that persistence keeps me going. It has always helped. Every single day of my life, it has always helped. So it's, aside from the God factor, I would definitely acknowledge that. Aside from the God factor, persistence.
All right. Awesome.
That's it.
Let me ask you, if you were to go back in time and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give your younger self?
In what part of life? Business-wise or
business, life,
wise?
anything, just whatever. If you were to give yourself one advice and say, look, listen, what advice would you give your younger self?
It would be that you can be whatever you want to be. Like, no matter how far or how unachievable it seems to be in your mind at that current state, it is achievable so long you are willing to put in the work that it requires, the time, the effort. You cannot change your destination overnight. You can change your direction, because several directions can lead to a destination. So once you have the destination in mind, and you have that goal, your eyes on that goal, you can get there. No matter how far, even if you have to fly there and you don't have money for taxi yet, you definitely can get there. Yeah.
I mean, there's a story in the book Think and Grow Rich that talks about Barnes, where Barnes wanted to go and learn from Thomas Edison. And he said that not only was he going to learn from him, but he said he was going to go into business with him. Not that he wanted to work with him, but he was going to go into business with him. And at the time, he didn't even have money for the train ticket, but he was able to go there. And at the end of the day, he actually even got into business with Thomas Edison. Amazing. Now, lastly, I mean, you've given your former self advice. Now, the question I want to ask you is that, what advice would you give business leaders right now that are going through business? What advice would you give them right now?
I really would not know, because the situations are peculiar to, like, it's different with different people.
Yeah.
But I think it would be similar to what I said initially, that if you think, or if you know, in your intuition also helps. If you know in your heart of hearts that this part I'm treading is worth it, and I would definitely hit it, then keep at it. And also, if you know that this part is no longer worth it, do not be afraid to start a new path. No matter how far gone you think that you might have gone, or no matter how hard you think it might be to start a new path, you'll be surprised that maybe in 5, 10 years, or 10 is even 5 years, or even a month, if you are consistent at it, you'll be amazed at your growth. And then if you're going to be worried about what do people say, just remember that in about 100 years' time, all of us current on this earth will be gone.
True that. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I realized is a lot of people live for other people. They say, oh, what will people say? Or what will people think? Or what will people do? And what they don't realize is that personally, in my own life, I've lived this experiment. You can actually change people's perception in 2 months. I remember when I first started on Instagram, right? One was my page about, my page was about, family, travel, yada, yada, yada. I changed that. Then my page now became about polo. That's all I was posting. In fact, my name on Instagram was Oti Polo, right? Everybody just was polo. Then I changed that. It now went into taekwondo. Then I changed that. Then it went into motivational speaking. Then I changed that. Then it went into, speaking, coaching. And then I've changed it now. And I'm into, business, helping business owners build their business. And the funny thing is that all the people that have been carrying on that journey actually been chasing me. Now I know that we and you've been discussing, right? And I think we'll close with that. You were talking about, thinking about going into coaching, consulting, and this,
Yeah,
just tell us
God willing, yeah.
when should we expect you to launch officially? I'm putting you on the spot now so that we can come back and find out if you've done it. We're putting you on the spot now. When should we expect you to launch?
So I can't put a time frame to it yet. Isn't being that I want to make sure that I avoid the mistakes I made in my first business with this one. Okay. So it's in the works already. I started putting everything in place today. Right? Okay, what do you need to do? What needs to be in place? Who needs to get this done? There has to be systems and structures in place. Once I have that figured out, yeah, I would launch that.
All right. Awesome. Guys, give it up for Bashirah Ajao, aka could Google it, aka the Creative Herbalist. Thank you very much for spending time with us. Thank you very much for blessing us with your wisdom and amazing insights and energy. And we look forward to And so one last thing, where can people connect with you before we go?
I am very much active on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at the Creative Herbalist, at spells, no episode, just the Creative Herbalist. And you can just send me a mail at TCH, which is an acronym for the Creative Herbalist, at thecreativeherbalist.com.
All right, guys. I'll also put it down here in the video so that you can easily check it out. And also in the comment section, we'll put a link to our Instagram page so that you can go ahead and follow her. Thank you very much and do take care.